Train by day, Kyle Wigington podcast by night, all day.
I saw everything on Temu. Buddy Culture in the house.
Hello.
What's up, guys? What gave you the idea to start a podcast?
Our buddy Aaron, who's not here today.
Unfortunately,
He's the funny one of the three of us.
We're just setting him up.
Yeah. So I don't know. We just sit around and riff, and that guy's funny, and like we'd have conversations. I'm like, man, I wish we would have recorded this because this is hilarious. Mm-hmm. And I have like a music studio ish in my house, so I've been doing audio for a long time, and I'm like, okay, well, what if I just put up an iPhone and some mics and some chairs? Like, we got a podcast, kind of already had the studio for it. So I don't know. One day I'm just like, hey, come over. We're doing a podcast. But I mean, that was, 4 episodes ago. So we're 4 episodes deep into a pod. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still fresh, but you're at least starting. And that's the beauty of it, man. You got to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Even when we started this one, I started with a little webcam. And actually, the first episode didn't even have a camera. It was just like me and a guy with a microphone. And after that, I was like, I'm going to get a little camera. So I got a little webcam. I was shooting at like 720p, like nothing good. And now here we are.
Look at you.
I know, 175 or so episodes in. Yeah, I love it, man. There's a lot of people that they always talk shit about podcasters nowadays. They're like, yeah, you're a mid-30s man, white man. You should definitely have your podcast now, right? Have you guys gotten that shit yet?
No, I mean, we're well aware of how cringe or we are for having a podcast.
Yeah, the wives and girlfriends have fun with it for sure. They're like,
dude,
oh,
who
y'all
cares,
are doing your
man?
podcast
it's
thing.
Fun, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is fun. We're doing it earnestly, because it's fun, and we'd kind of be doing that anyway, just sitting around goofing off and riffing together. But we also kind of make fun of the whole. There's something subversive about it. Like, we know we're not really ever going to have followers, and that's okay. We just, we sort of make fun of the algorithm. Like, how do we get in the algorithm? We'll never figure it out. We'll just always be losers. So it's sort of an anti-podcast.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Nice.
For us, we're the kind of the same way. Like, if you listen to our intro, I say "our," but it's me. For me, if you listen to my intro, it's Joe Rogan's intro.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of like funny that way, making fun of it too.
Yeah, he did that in the last episode. He was like, hey, Jamie, pull up that clip. Like, we were sitting around talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, every now and then I'll have one of my buddies come in and sit down, and he kind of fact checks us. But yeah, we don't really do any fact checking around here either.
I also like that.
We can just lie on here.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, say it. And eventually, if they train the algorithms on what we say, then that'll become truth, right?
Oh, God.
That seems to be how it works.
Yeah, AI.
Yeah. What a world.
The truth is a slippery thing. The closer you get to it, the further away it gets from you. You ever notice that?
It's real, man.
Yeah.
Real. Even history. Like, who knows if history is actually real?
I went to the past. No one was there.
Did you?
Yeah.
How far back did you go?
It doesn't matter. There's nothing back there.
So, like, you think that it's just
the eternal
it's just
now.
the present, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing in the future either.
See, I kind of disagree with that, man.
Really?
Yeah, I think that if you like hopped out into the 5th dimension, okay, so you're above time, you're above space, then you would just see a continuous stream of Earth going around like a torus, the center of a torus. So you would see the past and the present and the
astrological
future,
sign?
all on a Taurus, Taurus. So you would see like all these things exist at all times.
Okay.
And
are there alternate versions of it, or is it all just?
Well, so that's the beauty about what you can do with a torus, right? So if you actually look at
hang on, back up. What is a torus? I'm not.
Torus is like a magnetic field.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called a torus.
looks
Toroid.
like a donut, right?
Yeah, donut. Yeah. So if you actually like take this and you look at how the magnetic field goes into the torus, you'll see that it's like it branches out in all different directions. So it could be that there are alternate timelines, but I think that not everyone can manipulate timelines. I think only certain people can. I think the way you can figure that is if you assign a number to every human being, and there are certain numbers that can actually move things, like whole numbers, for instance. If you're a whole number human, then you can actually manipulate the timeline.
What if your number changes? Can your number change? Can you be born?
I don't think you can.
Can you figure out what your number, whether you have that number?
I don't know. Can
Interesting.
you change things?
Like,
Have you ever like changed the world?
can you be born as a 1 and then like, by adolescence you're like a 4 or something?
I don't think you can. I think it has to do with like your tuning of your DNA.
I gotta say,
okay, wait.
when I married my wife, she was a 5, but she's like a 7 or 8 now. It's pretty cool.
You're talking about her looks.
No.
Are we gonna get in trouble for this?
No, I was talking about her resonant magnetic frequency.
Okay.
wait, I gotta know more about this. So there's certain people based on their DNA that you think can affect events more than others, or no one else can actually. They're all NPCs. Is that what you're getting at?
That's kind of what I'm saying, but I don't think that I don't think it's NPCs. I think that they have like a trajectory they're going on. They just can't move too much off of it because it gets what's the word I'm looking for here? Uncomfortable. And most people don't like to be uncomfortable.
Sure.
And then there are some people that love to be uncomfortable, and those are the people that can actually change things.
Okay. So there are alternate versions, but not an infinite number of alternate paths.
I mean, why would you say it's not infinite?
Well, if some guy's like not comfortable with change, then his alternate futures are limited.
Well, no, I think that we're living like on this. Okay, let's say that we're living on a spaceship Earth. Okay. And we're all moving together. And there are certain people that can actually steer the ship. But there are other people that just have to like, be a passenger on the ship. So I don't think that they're alternate Earths. I think we're all moving on the same Earth, but there are some people that can just steer the ship more than others.
Okay.
This is a wild
And
theory.
these are
that I have.
people. I mean, they have wealth and power.
I don't think you necessarily have to have wealth
Or-
and power.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's literally based off of, because if you think about like a human being, right? You're basically a body, and then there's this consciousness on the outside of the body that you're kind of connecting to. And I think that some people can connect to the consciousness part more than others. And we call those people, I think woke is actually a term that's been used bad now.
They're like high agency or something.
Well, we'll call them saints.
So, okay.
The
Going that
saints,
way.
the gurus, the things like this. Like they're the
Okay.
ones that are connected with like this higher thing. And those are the ones that are actually, they're whole or holy. They're the ones that can actually, they're the whole numbers. essentially.
Play on words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I mean, they can actually move things and move people.
Okay.
So are you okay?
And people may not necessarily even be aware of that.
Right. Yeah.
Like they don't necessarily have to be like a Gandhi type.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't have to know.
Good question. I might be in the weeds with this word saint. Is this just a term you're applying to people who affect events, or
Yeah.
are you talking specifically about sort of blessed people, or so, like what's an example? Maybe
I don't know. I don't really have any examples prepared today.
is Joe Rogan a saint?
I would say yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say he has influence on people.
it's not
But-
clear why, but he certainly does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists
Yeah.
are that way. A lot of the ones that when they speak, people listen.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah, I'm clearly not one because when I speak, no one listens.
Come on. Look at
But I
you
mean-
got us here.
Well, yeah,
You're in good company.
But I mean, like, I think there are people out there that can move and manipulate the world, and I think it has to do with something that they're tuned into.
Okay.
Like it.
It's a weird way to start this podcast, but
Yeah, we're coming in hot
hey man,
for sure.
Oh, I had an hour and a half of another hot podcast, so I'm coming in fresh.
Nice.
Let's do this.
Okay, good. So you
So-
do 2 podcasts every week.
Right.
So you're at 170 something podcasts. So I'm not good with math. How long have you been doing this?
Probably like 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. And then
Nice.
whenever I travel, I have a little kit that I travel with, and it's basically the camera, and then I have lavaliers that I use, so I don't have to take like all this equipment and stuff with me. But I try to do some whenever I'm out of the city too.
I respect that, man.
Thanks, dude. It's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of a project or like a creative project is the grind. I feel like people only want to do things when they're inspired or when it kind of aligns for them, but it's just doing the work over and over again, which
That's what
you're
it
doing,
is.
and I respect that for sure.
Yeah, I like it because you guys heard me just telling that wild theory. I have these like all day long, every day. And if it's just me sitting at my house thinking about these things, they just spin around my head. But when I come on the podcast and actually talk about them, I get feedback from other people. And it's
Yeah.
also a way to learn from people. Like if I go to Tulane and I find a guy that I like his research and I'm like, hey man, will you sit down and talk with me for an hour about your research? I'll be like, who the fuck are you? But if I'm like, yo, dude, I have a podcast. You want to come on and explain your theories?
It's true. Yeah, it gives you some clout for sure. That's cool. So wait, are you changing gears from what you were just talking about in the previous ep, or were you getting cosmological?
Man, I'm not
and
really
crazy with
sure
it?
what we talked about on that podcast. It was all over the fucking place.
Fair enough.
Like those two people that were on or one of them was a ball of fire, man. So yeah, we were just here, there, everywhere. I can't even remember what we talked about.
Okay.
Some cool stuff.
You just blacked out, huh?
I blacked out, dude.
I get it.
She was throwing so much at me. I was just like, hang on a second.
Okay, well, I'll have to just watch the episode, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting humans that were just on, which I like that too, because sometimes I get bored with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched one of your shows. I can't remember your guest name. He's a black guy. He's a stand-up comic. AJ. I like him.
AJ's cool.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, he's the one that usually is here helping me produce.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at today, but I don't push people to show up if they don't want to show up, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still here doing it.
Yeah, there you go.
But now AJ, he's got some good insight. There's a lot of people around here that have good insight. You just have to some people you have to pry it out of them. Some people want to talk.
Yeah.
And are those the ones that have, the agency for change?
The ones who like to talk or the ones who don't?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it like that thing where the best leader is a person who doesn't want the role, or what? Is that kind of like that? Like Jon Snow in
Dude,
Game
that's
of
actually
Thrones?
a good point. What about Trump? Do you think he actually wanted that? Or do you think that he's like, no one else is taking it?
I think he loves it.
I think he
loves it?
wanted it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he's talked about it in the past. I've seen interviews with him, in the
He said he
90s or
wanted-
something. He was saying he would run one day when the country needed him or something.
Hmm.
I think he likes the spotlight. I'm not that surprised that he went for it.
Would you ever be president?
Hell no.
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, it's what it takes to get there, for one thing.
So, okay, what if all the barriers for entry were gone and they were like, well, we need someone who's going to be trustworthy to be president? Would you think you're worthy of it?
Like if they're just like, hey, tomorrow you can be president, yes or no?
Yeah.
Probably still not.
Seems like a miserable job, honestly.
It does,
And I don't
doesn't it?
think it's actually one with that much power to be. I mean, I think you are in the middle of a lot of things. You're like the ultimate middleman between different branches of government and agencies, people with money, people with a voice. I don't know.
Yeah, from a policy standpoint, the president is sort of mixed up in all that with the judiciary and the legislature. And then you have your role as a cultural figure. And I think that's...
Yeah, man, I don't want to do
that
I don't
could
want
be
to
a
do an
big deal.
Easter party on the White House lawn.
Yeah, who
Go out there and smile.
Yeah,
Not doing
nobody
all
gives
that
a
shit.
shit about me as a cultural icon.
Yeah.
That's kind of self-deprecating to yourself.
I mean,
What if we need you?
yeah, we need this dime a dozen indie rock kid who
Hey,
You don't think there's anything special about you?
We've never had that as a president. You'd be the first.
yeah, that's true.
You'd be the first guy wearing a Nirvana t-shirt in the Oval Office. That would be, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be something special about you, you know?
Sure. Yeah, everyone's special in their own
He's
way.
got a podcast.
Now, I don't know,
What
man.
about you? No, let me put it back on you. Would you want to do that?
No, hell no. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it, but I understand that I didn't want to manage a fucking bar. But then everyone else that kept doing it sucked so fucking bad that I was like, okay, I guess I'll fucking do it. And here
Yeah.
we are 8 years later.
The reluctant hero.
But that's what I'm saying. I would not want to be president, but I get
No.
that all the fucking people that are doing it suck so bad that
Oh,
the
they're
world needs
oh.
someone that can actually do it and be fair. That's
Yeah.
the issue we have right now is it's not a fair game.
Yeah.
The game, meaning getting to that level or just being at that level and having to go through all the
getting to that
stuff.
level. Like I don't think people have the opportunity to get to that level anymore. I think that unless you're born with $1 billion or millions, whatever, or you meet the right people along the way and you can play their game, you can be their pansy or their, then that's how you get to that level anymore. I don't think that the average middle class person can get there.
No, well, and the nepotism I feel like has never been worse. Like there's like these dynasties, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Kennedys. Like it's a family. Like it's kind of.
And I think you have
the
to,
connections.
and you
I'm
have
not
to
gonna
be
be
a
able to beat
celebrity.
that.
I think voters they recognize celebrities. Ronald Reagan, or they know George W. Bush because they knew his dad, or they know Hillary because they knew Bill, or they know Biden because they knew Obama. Obama was, I guess, the exception. He didn't have any
actually.
he didn't have any celebrity to bring
He
with
did
him.
some
He
kind of hat
just,
trick. That was insane that he won.
yeah. But
well, they knew they could whoever the they is. They probably knew that they could use him to do whatever. He would just do whatever they wanted to for money. That's another thing too.
He climbed on the status quo, the Democratic Party status quo.
Yeah, we'll give you a book deal. Yeah, so they find a way to like loophole the money to you, but I mean now he's worth millions.
Yeah.
Oh
and he's still on the train too. Like, who was he? Was he for? He was pushing for Kamala, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she doesn't even have a fucking brain. Like, how much money you know how much money you have to pay me to say that she's going to be a great candidate?
Yeah.
Like, it would be so much fucking money because you can look at her and be like, dude, you shouldn't be running a country. But the fact that she was on like leading a party is crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's been weird to watch that party not cultivate any more like talent, or they don't even seem to have a bench. Like she ran almost because I felt like there was nothing else. Like I don't feel like they are good at bringing new voices in.
Yeah, they don't. Really
it's really stale.
Well,
in that group,
it's true. It's true. I'm not denying that. But right now, have you seen Bernie and AOC?
They still have some traction.
Yeah, they've been packing out like 30,000.
Really?
Yeah, events all week.
Didn't they find that Bernie took some money or something?
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, well,
you're saying a politician took some money?
Well, yeah, but I mean him because like everyone's was praising him for being Bernie Sanders, the one Democrat that's good and wants to actually still do good for people or whatever. But then they were like, oh, he took money too.
Oh, did he? You mean from the big pharma?
Was that what it was? I don't know. I wouldn't.
RFK accused him of taking money from big pharma.
So just accusations.
Well, I think the way it kind of came in is that Bernie didn't actually receive money from PACs.
Okay.
But he received, so he just, all his donations came from individuals. But some of those individuals were maybe like people
that worked for.
Up there in the big pharma game. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but they were sort of going back and forth about that. So,
well, I also feel like for some of those politicians, it's probably hard to keep up with the people that are giving you money. So sometimes people may just give you money just so they can hold it over your head for future.
Yeah.
So I mean, like with Bernie, they knew that he was, trying to do the right thing for people. So maybe they donated money to him just so they could come back on him in the future and go, look, we gave you money and we're bad.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I think at least Bernie, if he would have gotten away with the things that he wanted to do, he would have been a good president. Like I want to see a federal jobs program.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see a social wealth fund, healthcare, single payer system, stuff like that is long overdue. Like there's no reason we shouldn't have that in an economy like we have, being the wealthy nation that we are. So I don't doubt that, I don't think that he was just, trying to sell us that and then going to like turn around and not work at it. I think he really believes in those things. So, whether there's some stickiness, with who was contributing to his campaign or whatever, like fine. But, they're all sociopaths. That's the other reason I wouldn't want to be. There's just a community of psychopathy. Mm-hmm. And I don't want any part of that business. That's why I wouldn't want to be president.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. I mean, I think that's what attracts power positions, right?
Yeah, I feel like the way it's structured too keeps people with integrity out. Like there's always that moment where it's like, to get to the next level, you need to poison this community, or you need to be comfortable killing kids with a drone, or whatever. And decent people will stop there and be like, I don't know about that. But then there's always that one that's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do whatever. I'll push this woman down the stairs. I'll, blow something up.
Yeah.
I'll put shit in our food, whatever to make a buck, I'll do it. And that person's always going to come to the top of a system like the one we have.
So are you guys familiar with boy state and girl state?
No.
Now, I don't know. It's crazy to me that more people haven't heard about this. I talk about it quite often on here, but whenever I was I think I was a junior in high school, they came to, they have this thing called boy state. And what they'll do is they'll take the top 4 students from each school in the entire state. And I was from Arkansas. So they went to every school in Arkansas and grabbed the top 4 students. I was one of them. They take the boys to one college campus and the girls to another. And for like a week, you simulate government. And I think that's actually where they're selecting their future politicians right there. Because they're taking the top 4 candidates and they're finding the one that they can manipulate to be, a good politician. I wasn't, obviously.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck am I even doing here? Just kind of like,
yeah,
simulating military and stuff through the week, and then doing the whole government thing. It was just nuts to me. But it's crazy to me that more people don't know about these things. But I think it's like a selection process for future politicians.
Interesting. Do you remember any of your, what was your platform?
I don't know any of that
Candy,
stuff.
video games?
Government's never been something that interested me at all.
Yeah.
But no, we actually simulated a full thing where we elected I guess it was like a governor or something at the end of it. I don't really know what we were doing. I was just there for basketball because we also played some basketball thing. So I know my team won the basketball tournament. Yeah.
Nice. Just there for the basketball.
Yeah, it was interesting to see, interesting to experience. But I didn't know if they did that in every single state or if that was just an Arkansas thing.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of it. No. I grew up in Texas and didn't know about no boy state or girl state.
We'll have to look into that. I'll ask ChatGPT about it later.
There you go.
Do you guys use AI at all?
Not really. We make music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just out of curiosity, like we wrote a song about, I wrote the music. He does the lyrics, but I had this idea. I'm like, I want a song that's about a guy breaking out of jail and then they like catch him and put him back in jail. And so he wrote the lyrics for it. It's quite poetic. He did a great job with the lyrics, I think. But then I like turned around and asked ChatGPT to do it. And it was so bad. It was awful.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just. So I don't like the idea of AI doing art really at all. I think all the art in the YouTube videos and it's garbage. It's just awful. It's the aesthetics of it just absolutely turn my stomach. I would like to have an AI machine that folds my laundry. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I've got piles of laundry at home. After I'm done here, I've got to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you, ChatGPT? Why are you not doing my laundry right now?
Can't argue with it.
So how did you use it to write the lyrics? Did you just
I said write a song about a guy who breaks out of jail but then gets captured and brought back to jail.
You didn't upload the music with it?
No.
Did you have the music when you were writing?
Yeah.
Oh, see, maybe that's you handicapped it.
Well, but it didn't give me a song. It just gave me lyrics. But the lyrics were so just straight on. There was no poetry to it. The only poetry to it was that it rhymed.
Right.
But there was no.
Yeah, human creativity is definitely something that the AI hasn't accounted for yet. But there are some like really cool programs out there. Have you ever heard of Suno.ai? You'll hate this. If you're musicians, you fucking hate Suno.ai. It's a music app, and every 6 months I'll go back and like revisit it and just see how it's progressed. And it's getting scary.
So you can say, write me a song about whatever, and then it pops up.
I can write a song about 3 guys. I can put our names in there, having a podcast at another bar, and it'll literally write a song about 3 guys with our names doing a podcast at another. We'll do it whenever we. So after we stop this, we'll do that. And then I'll put that at the very end of the podcast.
Beautiful.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We're doing it. It's
Hey, give me the folding machine, the laundry folding machine, please.
well, that's what you have kids for, right? Aren't they the folding machines?
Yeah, let's put them to work in the car factories.
Isn't Elon making it like a robot factory in Memphis, Tennessee? That's
Is
a
he?
thing, right?
Ooh,
That's your folding robot right there.
It's coming
Okay.
soon, brother.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're putting it in Memphis, which is kind of scary that they're putting that in the middle of the U.S. But that's a bad thing if the robots, just go, okay, it's time to fuck people up.
That's true.
Yeah.
They got a strategic advantage there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever typed Google into the Google search bar?
No, what happens?
No, I'm afraid to.
Have you ever done
It'll
it?
become self-aware.
Wait, am I Googling myself?
No, I mean, I'm with you on it. I would like to see AI do more mundane things or more like labor than I would creative stuff. I mean, I feel like that is a cool thing that makes us human.
And that's what
I
everyone
guess.
wants. I mean, look, we're off today, right? And we want to be creating. We
Mhm.
want to be making music. We want to be doing this. We want to write jokes. We want to make jewelry. So stay away from that stuff. Let like in the utopia, that's what we'll be doing.
Mhm.
All the stuff we don't want to do, we'll get the robots to do that. And then we'll do all the cool shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're in reverse right now, right? Like we're using the AI for creative shit, and we're still folding laundry.
Yeah. No, don't like it.
Do you use it for anything else, like writing, emails or anything?
I've had it write a letter for me.
I've fed it like transcripts of a meeting I was in, like a work meeting, and ask it to like pull
Bullet
out the
notes.
action items or do.
Yeah.
It's great. It like there's a lot of different things related to work that it can do well for
Mhm.
sure. Emails.
But then you wonder, will it just take my job?
So,
Which is fine too, but do I get to keep my salary?
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
One of the quotes that I heard is that AI won't take your job. The human that knows how to use AI will take your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I think everyone should
Okay.
at least learn how to use
I'll
it.
sleep easy then.
Yeah, you know how to use it.
Yeah,
right?
no problem.
Yeah, I use it way too much. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I use it just to play with it.
What do you use it for?
All kind of stuff, dude. I have Suno that I make music with, and I never post the music. Like, I mean, I did post it here recently. I made a song for Ben Bowman, who's our comedian that hosts open mics, and the song came out great. And I actually posted it with a poster that I made. But yeah, so
Nice.
I sent those to him, and I was like, dude, here, you can use these for whatever you want to. I made three different songs for him, but just the speed at which it does all these things is impressive to me. And I don't make music at all, so it's a cool tool for me to add some music to stuff that I'm creating.
Yeah.
All kind of stuff, man. I have one that's it's called Kyber.ai. And I get on Kyber.ai and I can like mesh photos together and things and create videos out of it. And I can even put music to these and it'll edit to the beats and stuff. I use it for the shorts on the podcast. So after the long form content's done, I'll upload the long form content to an AI and it goes through and it reads the transcript and cuts out shorts. And then I go through and after that and I edit the shorts down even more and add music and stuff to them. But it saves me so much time.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just getting old, but I don't like shorts either. I don't like the way TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. I don't like that format. Spotify's doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
I like long form content. I like to sit around and have a 30-minute, an hour conversation of people just bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen to a record. I like to take out a vinyl record and put it on and play the whole thing and hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way going through 15-second videos and then there's ads and and people are doing this with their attention. I think it's a bad thing for our human project here.
Yeah.
It's hijacking people's dopamine. I don't like that at all. I think we need to move away from that. I do like the idea of, you got to have shorts. Like I've given into it. I've done some shorts. I'm on TikTok, and I do like the idea of an AI just doing that shit for you because it's, like I enjoy editing video on my own, but like the shorts always feels like a chore. Like, oh, I got to do the shorts because that's what you got to do the shorts. So that's kind of cool, I guess. If, you can't beat them, join them, I guess.
No, you're exactly right though about the dopamine. And there are studies coming out right now that are confirming this, that it's like a drug that kids are addicted to now, where they're addicted to those 30-second dopamine hits. And the teachers are coming out now saying that, because they're starting to ban phones from schools. And they're saying that even though you're banning the phones, the kids are still sitting there just like this, just droned out of their fucking heads, because it's not interesting to listen to a teacher teach you when you're doing this all day long.
Right.
Yeah. So it's terrifying what it's actually doing to humans. But I don't think there's a way you can take it back from them now, unless you dose them all with Ibogaine or something.
When I think back on school, even today, I'm not even a young person, and I feel like I would be so bored if I had to.
I was
go
bored. I was bored then.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. No, I was too, but now it's like even worse. I feel like I can't go 8 hours without my phone today. Like the idea of just having to listen to someone talk for 8 hours every day. I can't look at my phone. I'm not getting that dopamine hit. It's I don't know if I could do it.
It's good to be bored.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
You know,
yeah, I don't think phones are great.
It's good for you to be bored.
But it makes people look at you weird now. It's like I sit out here sometimes when I'm waiting on inventory to come in during the daytime, and I'll just be sitting there, not on my phone, not having headphones in, just looking around. And people are like, what the fuck is this creep doing? Look at this creep. He's out here just looking around at people.
Yeah,
like,
fuck them.
I'm a monkey sitting on a porch looking around, dude.
Yeah, fuck what they think, man. You know, if you're able to not just bury your head in your phone for every spare minute you have, then you know what? Good for you. I like that. No, it is good to be bored. It's good to sometimes sit with an uncomfortable feeling, like, you know, what's next, and not have to give in to, well, I'll just have a snack, or, you know, some other pleasure, like, you know, fleeting pleasure.
That's a thing too. Yeah. People eating just because they're bored.
Yeah.
My dad does that.
I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to, man. I keep all the snacks out of my house.
Yeah.
That way I'm never tempted to eat them.
Right. Yeah, I do that too. Or just hiding them from myself works a lot. If I have something attractive, like some cookies on the counter, you know, especially if they have like color, like bright colors or something that brings the eye, I'm going to eat one. If they're in the cabinet, I completely forget they exist. So it's funny, like how there's like two different people, at least two different people, sort of like there's one guy in here who's like, no, let's set things up so that, you know, because I don't trust you, you know, other guy who can't control himself.
That's crazy to think about though, is like the body has these urges and we're in control of them or we're not in control of them, you know?
Right.
Like, it's like you're controlling the animal. I think that was sex too. Like when I see a beautiful woman walk by, I'm like, oh man, I want that right there. And then I'm like, hang on a second. Like, why am I thinking this?
Yeah.
It's the animal coming out of me.
Yeah. What am I? Some kind of pervert thinking about this all the time?
It's not really a pervert. You're just the animal. Like literally, we're just animals, and your one thing that you're really here to do is procreate.
It's true. That's true. I mean, I think that's why we have romantic love, and we kind of, you know, we idealize romantic love. Oh, well, I love this person because of their charm and their wit and their personality. And we have this whole story about it, but sadly, it's just this biological urge.
You're like, I just want to bang you.
Well, not just that, but like I want to
raise my kids and all this stuff.
Yeah. I want to protect you. I want to, you know, I want to be around you. I just like hanging out, like, right. Like, oh, I just like hanging out with you and watching Netflix because you're fun to be around. Well, really, it's about like, we need our bodies to be close together in case there's any, you know, threats that come to, you know, in our cave or what have you. It's a sad way to think about it. I do though. Still,
why is it a sad way to think about it?
Because I do like the idea of writing love songs and love poems. And even if it is really like, you know, just a story, a lie we're telling ourselves.
It's not a lie. I think it's describing objective reality.
It's a beautiful thing. You know, it's a beautiful emotion. It's painful, you know, it can be.
It is. Yeah.
But
I think that's what art is. Art is just a description of objective reality whenever you have good art. So you call it a love song, but no, it's just, you know, you're describing what a relationship is in a way that glorifies it rather than actually talks about what it really is. Like, you know, two monkeys in a cave.
Right. Like, who wants to hear a song about two monkeys in a cave, executing biological functions they've been conditioned with.
We'll do that one with the AI later
Oh,
too.
God.
This is gonna be great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm heavy into AI though, man.
What's to stop so it sounds like it empowers you in a lot of ways with the work you do for like the pod promotion. But like, I guess what concerns me is there's that next step where someone's just like, I'll just AI the whole conversation.
Okay.
Like why does he need to be part of this?
Well,
Like someone else, like, how can you stop it from deleting you completely? I mean, as good as it feels and as empowering as it is in its current sort of incarnation, I feel like eventually some of us are going to get disappeared from our passions and the markets we work in and stuff. I do worry about that a bit. Not like paranoid, but.
Well, we're strictly talking in the creative space right now. But I mean, I use AI for all kinds of other things too, like cool little experiments that I do and stuff. One of the experiments that the girl that was just on here was talking about was taking her chat GPT and my chat GPT, knowing the different things that we do and letting them have a conversation and just seeing kind of what they talk about. Because it's kind of just a cool experiment to see if they're actually, there. If it's not just like an algorithm moving,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of the other stuff that I use it for, which is that I would never be able to do without GPT, is are you familiar with gematria?
No.
Okay. You're married to a nice Jewish lady, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So she might be familiar with gematria. The Hebrew language, every character in the alphabet has a numerical value. So it's a mathematical language. So if you take the word for mother, which is 41, it equals 41, and the word for father, which equals 3, and you add those together, you actually equal 44, which is the number for child. So mother plus father equals child.
Okay.
So one of the things I've been using GPT for is to create an Excel spreadsheet that any word that I type in English, it converts it to Hebrew and then gives me a English value for it and also gives me a Hebrew value for it. And then we can go in and we can look at the similarities and patterns that we're getting from them. Like
Try to write the ultimate sentence.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
Yeah. It's magic.
Have you written a sentence that equals 69? That's what I would do first.
There are words that equal 69.
Nice. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of them. But there's like certain numbers that pop up over and over again, which is it's kind of cool to look at.
Is there anything weird or interesting about prime number words?
Okay. So obviously I'm into numbers.
Yeah. Well, I can tell. I'm trying to tee you up. What you got?
Well, so I haven't pulled too much out of it yet. This is it's a recent thing that I've been using GPT for, but I've been doing this now for probably 5 years. Initially when I had as far as I could do was like type in one letter at a time and then do the word. But here recently we've programmed an entire Excel spreadsheet where I can just put anything I want to in it. So now we're getting a lot of data back. But I haven't really found any crazy patterns yet. Just finding the numbers that pop up over and over again.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I put in people like Donald Trump and stuff. You can see his name. I actually filled out an NCA bracket with gematria values, and then I filled out one with just using AI to pick teams, and my AI one's fucking crushing it.
Really?
Yeah, but my gematria one not so good. Yeah, AI, dude, I'm like 90.
Okay, whoa. You're pitting like ancient mystical numerology against AI in this experiment. You're out of your mind.
Some people would say that.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, here's something we can. This will be fun. Have you ever looked into the Carl Jung synchronicity stuff?
Like what?
So, and I guess they say that whenever you start to meditate, that. And I have heard a lot of meditators, people who are not really kooky, they kind of just start meditating and they're like, why do I always notice now, like when it's 11:11, like I'm constantly like when it's 11:11, I just look at the clock, or, certain numbers like that will, or you'll think about a person and then they'll call, or you have dreams and then they're like premonitions. Things like that. And it seems that the more you meditate, the more these synchronicities come up. And Carl Jung wrote about it. I think the general take among, like in the meditation community is like, yeah, this does happen. A lot of people report this happening, noticing these synchronicities the more they practice. But it's really not something that means anything. It's just like, you can't really be like, okay, 1111 plus 333, equals, and then like, oh, well, that means in 1 week I'm gonna need to buy a lottery ticket. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I don't get what they're doing there.
It's more just like, they say when something synchronizes, it just means like you're on the right path.
Okay.
Like, keep following in that direction. So like, if I'm like, I should probably make a nice, like, lean, low fat lunch for myself, like some healthy with some yogurt. And I look and it's 11:11. I'm like, you know what? That must be a good idea. The universe is telling me, yeah, make that nice, healthy, low fat lunch for yourself. Stuff like that. Like, you're moving in the right direction. So that's just kind of the way that I think the sane take.
What's the insane take?
The insane take is like, oh, okay, well, 11:11 plus this. These are my lucky numbers. I need to go buy a lottery ticket and then put these numbers on it, and stuff like that.
Well,
Like,
schizo direction.
where you think you can actually predict the future with
you're
it.
probably going to think this is insane then. Okay. So
Okay.
for about 10 years now, if you see these right here, these are the background on my phone. Each time I see one, I screenshot it. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Nice.
Yeah, I have about probably about like 8,000 pictures now. And so another thing I did, because here's my take on this. And once again, you're probably gonna think this is insane, but we were talking earlier about dimensions, right? And being outside of the dimension and seeing the Taurus.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think that there are beings that are on a higher plane than us, and when they're looking down at us at planet Earth, they're basically seeing all time. Like, time doesn't exist for them. They see everything that's ever happened, and they can kind of pluck strings and move things too. They can manipulate things, and since time doesn't exist for them, that maybe whenever I look down at my phone and see one of those synchronicities, then they're like making me look down at my phone at that point in time. Okay. So what my thought process was that if I get enough data and then I input it into AI, then AI can make a waveform out of it. And maybe there's something in that waveform that I can hear, or, maybe there's some kind of like message there from a higher thing. So I've been collecting all this data, and I recently got with AI, and we used it to scrape all the metadata off the photos. That way I can input them into an Excel spreadsheet. And when I find the correct software that'll let me actually make it into a waveform, then I can see what I've done.
That's crazy, man. The recent tab on your Excel program has got to be full of crazy spreadsheets, brother. You got a lot going on.
I have a lot in there, yeah.
That's cool.
Another thing, you're talking about like the beings above us. Have you heard about the gateway tapes?
Yeah.
Do you know about this?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say what little bit I know about it, but you can add to it. But so the CIA apparently was funding. There's a man named, I believe, Robert Monroe, the Monroe Institute. The CIA was funding this for years, and it's become public, I think.
Yeah. The whole paper's public now.
So, and you can go read about it online, but basically the idea is that they were trying to train people in the CIA to have out of body experiences. And there's like a whole set of gateway tapes. I've listened to a couple of them, and they sound kind of like an old library tape you would hear, like a book on tape. They were made, I guess maybe in the 80s or something. And they have all these, like, you hear like the synthesizers, like the early synthesizers they use for like whooshing wave sounds, and a lot of it's the binaural beats. So do you know about that? How it's like if you're tuning a guitar string and it's just slightly, your guitar is slightly out of tune, you hear this sort of wow, 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 so they do like say a frequency of 432 hertz in the left ear and a frequency of 430 hertz in the right ear. And they're just slightly out of tune by 2 hertz. So you hear this 2 hertz cycle. 2 hertz is what a cycle, 2 cycles a second or something. So you'd hear like every second you'd hear 2 like wow, wow, wow.
This was to induce like an out of body.
And this is to induce an out of body experience. And they use this in the CIA. And I think the idea was to actually have people leave their bodies and spy, go to Russia
Interesting.
and go on Putin's desk or whatever and read the codes to his, nuclear whatever.
Yeah, that was an actual report they did. Yeah, they actually did that. They like sent someone to a secure location and they found secret files at the secure location.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and come back with the information. And I love how you said they used to do this. You don't think they're still doing it?
Oh, well, I don't really know a lot about it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think
mean,
now
maybe-
they perfected it.
Really?
Yeah, like the whole concept is that we have like a base. Okay, so if you look at it like it's a wave spectrum, okay, like there's this base waveform that we're inside of right here, and it's raising the vibrations to get just outside of the waveform, and then when you get to that level, then you can actually like leave the body, and it's like twisting out of the body.
The first thing I thought of when you were talking about this, like, yeah, sound is important, and I feel like it gets kind of becomes part of the background of your reality, but it's really important. I read this book by Aldous Huxley called The Doors of Perception, and he talks about how pilots during like World War II would have dissociative experiences because of like the engine sounds. They would have these engines on each side of their prop planes or whatever, and they would like leave their body, or they'd see things, or different things would happen to them. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in ancient Hinduism, like if you chant Om,
Right.
yeah, Om's one of the big ones too. Chant Om, you'll go visit God or become God, whatever.
Yeah. And so you were talking about like the beings. So another thing that this Monroe guy talks about is that there's some sort of beings that are sort of above us, but they feed off of our negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're panicked and anxious and angry and fighting each other and, hysterical, it feeds these beings.
Oh man, they must be. It's a buffet right now for them. They're eating so good.
Yeah. So they feed off of negative energy, which is like interesting to me because, like in Buddhism, they teach the metta practice, which is a loving kindness practice. And, it's all about just like loving everyone, loving yourself, loving your community, loving your state, loving your country, loving the whole world, just like you're practicing like this love on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, if there's some sort of beings out there that are feeding off of our negative energy, like this Buddhist practice, this ancient Buddhist practice of metta would be the antidote to that.
Yeah. Well, do you think there's some that feed off of love too, then, if there's some that feed off of negative energy?
Yeah, I think they're called human beings.
So you think that we're the entities that feed off of love?
I think that love. Okay, so
I just think there's a duality. Like for one thing to exist, the other thing must exist too. So for the entities that feed off of hate and anger, there has to be one that feeds off of love.
Okay, so here's what I think, and this happened to me. I'll tell you a little story about. Can I go into a story about some psychedelic experiences?
Dude, I love psychedelics. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll try to make this brief. So when I first started practicing Buddhism, like not Buddhism per se, just meditation. I'm getting into the various meditation practices. This was like 4 years ago. I stumbled across this metta practice, which is like a loving kindness practice, right? So, and I started doing a thing where I would take a psychedelic substance and I was doing it very like in a measured way. It wasn't just like, woo, let's do this and party and have fun. Like it was part of a practice, I was like really trying to take it seriously. And so the first time I did it, it was right around the like January 6th thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I was like kind of like just laughing at that whole, I didn't think it was good for our democracy, but I was also it was kind of funny to me. Maybe just because I'm jaded or whatever, but I was kind of laughing at the whole January 6th thing. And whenever I had the experience, the psychedelic experience, I had this like thing come over me where I was like, oh my God, like our country. And I never really thought this way, I kind of just like always laughed this off, but I had this experience like, oh my God, our country is like hurting. There's so many people who are anxious and scared right now. And I don't know where that came from because it wasn't something that really concerned me. And
Did you get hungry when you had that feeling?
No. I had like this tightness in my chest and like this anxiety. And it wasn't like it was just coming from me. It was like it was coming from deep within
Everyone, yeah.
from everyone. And I didn't like it. It didn't feel good, So then I said, okay, well, that's what it was. And then I was doing the meta, so that happened. And then in the following weeks, I was doing this meta practice, and it kind of just like clicked together. Like, well, I heard one of the teachers talk about like when you're doing meta, there's a compassion practice where you want to you pray for the ending of suffering of others. And they're like, be careful, because if you kind of go into that suffering, you'll find this deep well of suffering, and it's infinite. So don't get hung up there. Just pray for the compassion toward the people who are suffering, and stay with the compassion. And don't. I'm like, wow, that when you say deep well of suffering, that sounds a lot like what I experienced in this trip, right? So I'm like, okay, well, maybe meta is the antidote to that. So here I'm getting to my point finally. So I had another trip, and it started to get scary. I started seeing these like sort of demonic, scary little monsters and faces and stuff coming at me. And I was like, oh, okay, do the meta practice. And just in the like second that my mind decided like, oh, do meta, this like my eyes were closed during all this too, because like these trips were like very regimented. It was like schedule out a block of time, lay down with eyes closed in the dark. It was very like a serious thing that I wanted to do. So I'm with my eyes closed. These demonic figures kind of are coming at me, and I'm like, oh, do the meta practice. And as soon as I made that decision to do the meta practice, this like white ball of energy, like golden white energy, just like absolutely eviscerated. Mm-hmm. I'm getting like my hair is standing up on my arm still. And I've told this story, I don't know how many times. It just absolutely eviscerated any fear or anxiety that I was having from these little creatures or whatever they were. They just absolutely were gone. And it was like, love is so much more powerful. Like, that's what I learned from it. Love is so much more powerful than anxiety and fear. Like, you can't even, it's like Superman versus a baby. Like, Superman is just going to fuck that baby up like so easily.
What do you think the white light was, though?
Don't you think Superman could beat up a baby?
Oh,
how is that even a question?
Pulverized.
Okay, I just making sure we all agree.
A grease spot on the pavement. Absolutely.
The white ball of light was love. Like, as soon as I decided to do that meta practice, which I had already been doing a bit, and like cultivating that loving kindness. As soon as I decided to go in that direction, love was like, oh, hello, here I am.
Okay, so do we think that was real, or do we think that was all in your head?
I mean, it was all in my head, but it still goes to show, like, do you mean like were there really demons there?
Yeah, was there really like an entity surrounding you? And then when you projected love out of your body, did you really like push these entities away from you?
I mean, it's probably just all in my head, but let's not minimize the power of that, right? Like, people, their lives are ruled by anxiety. They turn on CNN or Fox News and they sit there and freak out all day about where the country's headed, for good reasons or not, or whatever, but they're catastrophizing over the state of affairs of where the world's headed. And it is scary, but like, I think people are under a spell a bit of their own anxiety and fear and anger, and they're having a hard time breaking that spell. And if you're gonna do something about it, if you're like, oh, we need to put it into whatever it is, you need to put it into Trump, or you need to put it into Biden, or whatever's freaking you out and scaring you in the world. If you're going to do something about it, you can't do it from a place of anxiety and fear and catastrophe. Mm-hmm. You have to do it from a place of love and peace. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get yourself together to get up and do something. You'll be healthier. You'll make better decisions. You'll fight a better fight if you have the right mindset. So say it's all in your head. Well, that's exactly the remedy is to have the right headspace. So
what psychedelics were you using at the time?
I don't want to like.
That's you know what I'm saying. So I'll tell you my story.
They were legal. They were all completely legal.
But what does that mean? You were going to ketamine therapy or something?
I didn't do anything against the law.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's all that means.
Wink. No. So I have my own experience. It's very similar to yours, which is kind of creepy. I stumbled into a book called The Science of Yoga, and it was the pranayamic teachings of meditation. So then I was going outside and I was doing these teachings for like a month. It was like a month-long thing that happened to me. And towards the end of this month-long thing, I started pushing the effects more and more because one of the things I realized I could do was wearing the Bluetooth headphones down there. I realized I could shut my headphones off just by meditating. I didn't understand how I was doing it, but now I know that I was like creating an electromagnetic halo around my head by doing these meditation techniques. And this was shutting off the connection that the Bluetooth headphones had to the phone. So shutting those off. So as to get more and more of those effects, I started pushing it. So I was sleep depriving myself. I was fasting. I was doing these other techniques that you can do to raise these effects, to amplify these effects. And I think I was drawing something to me because I was doing it outside by the bayou. And then one day I got hit in the head by something. I don't know what it was, but I came to. And when I came to, I just got up and like walked back to my house because I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? And I was like 2 days into a fast, 2 days into sleep deprivation. And then I got back to my house and I started, my arms started hurting. I was like, fuck, I'm having a heart attack. So I laid down on the bed because I was like, I always heard your arms numb and it hurts if you're having a heart attack.
Right.
So I laid down on my bed and I was like, should I text or call someone? And I was like, no, if this is death, I accept it. And whenever I said that, these 3 black orbs started spinning around above my chest. Like whatever they were, the black orbs spinning around above my chest. And then my body just took over. Whenever I finally accepted death, I was like, okay, I'll accept this. My feet started paddling. My hands started doing these weird symbols, which I now know are mudras. Yeah. And so I settled on this mudra right here. And then I started chanting Om.
And this was all involuntary.
I didn't know anything about any of these things. And they were just, my body was just doing it.
Yeah.
And whenever I started chanting Om, the orbs dispersed and this white light they were pulling from my chest shot back into my chest because they were literally pulling a white light from my chest and it shot back into my chest. And I woke up the next day.
Wow.
And my life was totally different from that point on.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was in control after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've heard of this, what you're talking about with the involuntary, like the movement of the feet. And
you've heard of this? I've never heard of it.
Yeah. They're called Kriyas. Daniel Ingram writes about this in his book. He mainly has experience with, long meditation retreats. Mm-hmm. And I think like the Goenka retreats, which are really intense retreats. You know, people go and they meditate for 10 hours a day and it's tough. And people, a lot of weird stuff happens. It's hard. Some people just break down in tears. Some people have to leave. It's just like boot camp for meditation.
What causes those things?
They're not sure, but the way Ingram talks about it in his book, he calls it Kriyas. Kriyas are also something that you do like in a Kundalini yoga practice that you do voluntarily. Like they have all the different Kriyas and they're just like yoga movements. You have one where you like spin around on your hips or you like, and it's for, it like, you think of yoga as being stretches, but Kriyas are like sort of moving stretches. You're like moving the shoulders, you're moving the hips. So there's that kind of Kriya, but they also, the other Kriya is the involuntarily, whatever, which it comes from intense meditation. So it sounds a lot like, like the mudras and the feet and all of that. That's something that came about because of, this meditation you were doing. Mm. And it's like, it's a phase, that's what like an experienced meditation teacher. And that's kind of what Ingram says too. It's like, people get into this meditation thing and these weird things start to happen. And his book is really to like, hey, these weird things are going to happen. And it's like, he wants to sort of reaffirm people like, it's okay. You're going to have these experiences and it's going to be scary, but like, don't give up. It's happened to other people too. You're not crazy and keep going. And an experienced teacher will say, it's just an experience, like it happened. Keep going, keep meditating, stay on the path.
Do you still meditate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meditate every day. I fucking love it, dude. And sometimes I get lost in it. Sometimes because I meditate outside and sometimes I'll be there for an hour, just gone.
Yeah.
Wherever that is, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Is that when you're outside looking around?
No, I usually try to meditate on the rooftop of the place that I live.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll fly up there and meditate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you like, what is is it like sitting on a cushion with eyes closed? Like, do you have a posture? Do you lay down?
So what I'll do is I'll sit in the midday sun. It's usually like 12 o'clock when I'm meditating or usually after my workouts in the morning. So I face the sun, I look directly at the sun. raise my my sleeves up, so I'm getting as much of my skin exposed to the sun as I can. And then sometimes I'll put my hands flat. I'll have my shoes off, so I'm flat-footed, and I'll sit flat just like this, looking at the sun, head down. Because I realized that was the issue that I had the first time. I think I was talking to a guy about meditation, and he was talking about the Kundalini part. And he said when the energy was rising up the spine, he said he thinks that I might not have had my chin down. So he said the energy had a spike and went out the side. He said, so it wasn't something that hit me. It was me having incorrect posture. Oh, yeah. So now I've changed my posture up, and sometimes I'll use the hand mudras when I meditate, just to balance the hemispheres. It really just kind of depends on where I'm at. But I'm such a good meditator now that I can literally just shut my eyes and leave wherever I'm at.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. There was a girl that I'm not a good teacher. Not a good teacher at all. Cause I don't know how like I do what I do, but I was trying to teach a girl how to meditate one night, and she's like, we were literally sitting there and I was telling her about box breathing, and I was going through the box breathing techniques, and then I just fucking slipped away because once again, I'm there and I'm not there. And then I guess like 15 minutes or so went by and I'm still just meditating. And then her roommate walked in to their apartment, and I kind of snapped back in, and she was looking at me like how fucking long has she been sitting there looking at me, you know? She's like, she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. So I'm a horrible teacher.
Yeah. It sounds like maybe you're getting into the jhanas.
What's that?
The jhanas. So there's 8 jhanas. Do you ever have any blissful experience? Like just feels good to sit,
meditate. That's why I love it.
So like the first 4 jhanas are sort of what they call the form jhanas. And these are taught, you know, like there's a Lee Brasington, he has retreats. People come from all over to do his retreats. You know, you can find there was RIP. There was another teacher. I forgot his name. Anyway, you can find stuff about the jhanas. There are retreats you can do to study the jhanas, and they teach you to like really get through each one, recognize what each one is, work your way up and down them. Mm-hmm. You know, sort of like the way a musician would practice scales. You know, like here's your major scales. You know, get them good. Here's your minor scales. Learn all those. Once you got those, move on to the next. Right. So the first 4 jhanas are the form jhanas. And, you know, that's where you have that like classical, like blissed out feeling. You know, they talk about PT, which is like a electric feeling that might come over your body, and Sukha, which is more of that like bliss, like calm, warm, like more mellowed out feeling. But then when you get into the next 4, those are the formless jhanas. And that sounds more like what you're talking about, where you're just gone. Mm-hmm. You don't feel your body anymore.